football game last night and it was still not warm. And it was cold out there.
Football.
Flag football.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It's probably the most exciting thing that I've ever been to.
Are you playing?
Was I? No, I wasn't.
Where was that?
My grandson plays at,
High school?
no, he's sixth grader.
Oh,
Yeah, they
those
kind of,
are fun, those Pee Wee games.
they kind of quit with the regular tackle deal, and
Yeah.
so it's all flag now.
My kid plays.
For the younger kids.
Oh, no, mine plays tackle football.
Do they?
Yeah, I was gonna say, we
Here in
had
Atlanta,
Hillman
they do.
too.
So they're
Yeah,
on,
next
they're
year
on
he
the
goes-
other league. They're-
Yeah, he's in
Next
eighth
year he
grade,
goes into
seventh and eighth
tackle.
grade, and they play the tackle.
Yeah.
Normal football, but they only play 8-man because they don't have enough kids, so.
Right.
Hey, man.
It is
We had
fun, though.
7.
It is, it's
Watching them.
Did they?
I got 2
Yeah.
this year. My youngest son doesn't normally
7 on
play,
each team.
but my husband bribed him to play.
And I don't
And he bought
understand
him
the
a bunny
rule. Then they
because
do
they didn't have enough
7
kids.
off, 7 pages.
So my husband
then
convinced him to play,
you gotta
and
get your-
I didn't know that he
This is
convinced him
one
to play
point if
by
you get
buying
there,
him
it's
a
the first
real live
down, but-
bunny.
Oh,
So,
they're
yes.
different.
Oh,
So who
they
gets
have-
to take care of the real life bunny?
The real live bunny is in his room and he cleans it. He takes care of it.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it just goes with our cat and with our 3 cats and dog, but no, that's in his room.
You
It's
got
just in their
20
room.
grandkids.
As long as the
That's what they
cats
tell me.
don't decide they're hungry.
Yeah.
No, the one, 2 of our cats don't care. They just live, whatever. The other one is like trying to make it his best friend.
Get there. and- Yeah, one bad one.
You know,
Got to-
lays with it.
Starts at 6 o'clock.
That's funny.
I'm like,
Yeah,
that's just
that's-
odd because you could eat it.
Cold.
Rocks.
Yeah,
That's
right, but it's
No,
not.
she doesn't. She's just like
Did
the
you make
best.
bunny or like
So
Chili.
just big.
Oh,
And supposedly that's is about as all as it's supposed to get.
okay. A dwarf is what they call them, dwarf.
Yeah, it's like, it's about this big. That's probably all it's supposed to
Big
get.
enough to defend itself against the cat.
Yeah, I mean. Well, she's like, it's her best friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, you can compare that. You're gonna read. Are. Second on the agenda, so. Do you want me to put anything to you? I emailed them a copy of all the stuff they sent me. But I did not print anything.
Monday.
Sure one can be on it, kind of thing, right? I said, just sure one can be on it, kind of thing.
Yes, it is. Got to go in different directions.
She didn't put it to Friday.
Or-
I'm pretty sure they're not coming back tomorrow.
Right.
Never come home, same thing.
I mean, it's Friday, so. Ooh, Monday. We were here at one point. And my calendar shows the one drive that morning.
And it ended before
Yeah,
Friday.
she stopped on Thursday and I'm like, I don't think I'm here tomorrow. I would. Maybe she is, but I was seriously, I know, I mean, what do you just skip Friday off? So,
Brian.
I'm pretty sure. If she comes in tomorrow, I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure it's mine.
I know. I didn't realize it was. Guys, up here, I went, Put my half of my day in.
Like at 9?
Ready.
Are we at 9?
8:58, so.
Yeah.
I got 2 minutes yet.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the phones.
Go and change the batteries in that, that's probably why.
It's running fast.
Getting extra fast.
Take your time.
Yeah, because I have 15 minutes.
Was Adam gonna be on virtually or?
No, he's here. I saw his truck in the parking lot.
I don't see him. I was asking.
Allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. All present but not Evers. Approval of the agenda from September 19th.
I would move that we approve the agenda from September 18th.
From today, right?
Oh. No, minutes.
Yeah,
Minutes, yeah.
agenda first.
Yeah,
You're on agenda.
I'll second that.
So where this is for the minutes.
yeah.
Okay.
Back
We,
to the,
yeah.
For the
We do
agenda.
need this
to the agenda.
Yes.
Approving the minutes, right? Closer info too.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we'll approve the agenda.
And you guys got a motion a second. You're all set over for bubbles.
Yep. All in favor? Approval of the agenda.
So I presume most of you got my emails, and my intention is to make a motion to start a process to develop the controller performance review.
Motion.
That's a motion.
I'll support it.
To add what?
Are you adding this?
Add to the agenda to start to develop,
Under new business?
yes, I mean, new business. Develop the
Just-
process.
For evaluations. So
Yeah.
you're talking about policy for evaluations,
Yes,
for policy.
So what is it you're adding on, the controller review or like policy stuff or?
it is a policy issue. And on that policy issue, my motion is to begin to develop the controller performance review.
In addition to everyone else that the policy would.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, motion to develop the,
An evaluation policy must be, what, a county evaluation policy?
Yeah.
Including.
Whatever you want to
including
call it.
controller.
I don't know how it's stated in our current,
We don't have policy. that's-
no, but I mean for the other reviews.
a motion
We don't.
to develop the
problem.
county evaluation.
No, I know, but
policy.
I'm just talking about the language
Oh.
for what they're calling it, whether it's a policy or a controller performance review or a whatever you
You
wanna
keep
call it.
using the word controller.
Yeah.
Are you singling out our controller?
Well, she's the only one we don't have a review process for.
No, we don't have any,
Well, we don't have any at
No.
all.
no. That's the point.
That's,
We don't
it's,
have when we set the
Oh, man,
policy
well,
last year, remember, that one
perhaps I
was
missed-
tabled.
yeah,
We never were able to
Okay.
get that in the current policy because some of the department heads weren't comfortable with that. They wanted to do their own thing through their own department. And we never got that put into the policy when we did it in 2020.
okay, because it was my understanding that at least that's what I had in my head, that each department was in charge of their own reviews.
But we don't have a county policy when we did our county
Okay.
policies, and we had asked to put that in, that there'd be annual. Different department heads didn't want to do that. They wanted to be able to do it under their own,
Right,
their own. So we never had anything actually put in because I looked it up and we don't actually, correct? We don't have actually anything currently in the
Yeah.
policy
well,
because that was tabled last time and we never put it in.
okay.
So is that what you're asking for the
Yeah,
county policy?
I think we need to flesh all of that out then, if that's the case.
Yeah, because it's a policy, it would go into the personnel manual.
Okay, so right now, though, you're still on your agenda, so you're just adding the policy review issue to the agenda. And then you need to make a motion to approve your agenda, and then you
Yes.
can, when we get to that one. So-
She was just trying to get the language.
Right, yeah, I get that. Are we, so that's my motion. There was a second.
Do you want to repeat the motion again then?
So we're at the agenda, approval of the agenda, so you want to add on the policy review issue to the agenda.
Yes.
And then you need to make a motion to approve the agenda with your addition,
Yes, please.
and then you can continue with your other motion. So who seconded your motion to approve the agenda with addition?
Gary.
Gary.
He's making a motion.
You support the motion?
Okay, yeah, any further discussion? I just was making sure you were done. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay. Do you want to do a roll call or do we want to just
Roll call.
roll call?
So your motion's to develop a county evaluation policy to include the controller's office.
Mhm.
All right.
Sure.
Sure, okay. And who seconded that?
Gary.
Gary. Coulter,
Yes.
Gerardin,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Peltier.
Yes.
Moving on to claims and accounts.
Is that under new business or old?
No. Claims and accounts. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, their FPS meeting, their claims came in at $53,745.39. EFTs came in at $728,226.40. Desk checks came in at $20,475.44 for a total of $802,447.27. And I make a motion that we accept the claims and accounts.
I have
23 cents.
Is
that right?
Glasses are dirty.
Support.
Is there any discussion on this? I just want to ask about, so the EM grant declined to only 7,000 reimbursement.
Currently, we're getting just about 7,000 now. It's going down 10% from that.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Gerardin,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yeah.
Coulter.
Yes. Aaron, did we end up approving the agenda?
Yes. That was their,
With the-
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's gonna be under new business.
Yes.
All right. Public comment, just remind everybody that, according to our board rules, that that's 3 minutes per topic, respectful language, please. Any public comment? Seeing none, new business. Annual report.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'll talk while I'm passing out. My name's Adam Coivisto. I'm the District 14 Director for MSU Extension. Good to see all of you again. Oops, sorry about that. Making a mess here.
Thank you.
So we'd like to present our annual report this year, and I'll just give you a few brief highlights. First off, I'd like to introduce Patricia Makins. Patricia is the office manager and the person that you'll see a lot of times when you walk into our office. And she handles our Facebook posting. So we do a lot of stuff on Facebook. That's how we tell people about upcoming classes. Also, we post articles and research on there for new things that if people are happening that people might be interested in, whether it be new way to do food safety or a new agriculture procedure or research article or anything like that is on there. And also that's where we tell people about upcoming classes, along with websites and mailing lists and other ways to reach folks. We had a very busy year in Montmorency County. The annual report kind of gives you a few highlights. First off, for 4-H, I'll just touch on that there's 94 youth enrolled in Montmorency County 4-H and 52 adult volunteers. Those are the kids that are in 4-H clubs that meet weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what their club is in throughout the year. That does not include all the kids that we reach in the schools. Those are captured in a different part of the document here. So, but 4-H program's active and growing, and Bonnie Hardy's does a great job with all of those different programs. One program that I'll highlight, it's coming up again in a couple weeks here, is our mock interviews in the schools. So Bonnie organizes a mock interview day in both Hillman High School and Atlanta High School. And she brings in a bunch of volunteers. I'm one of the folks that comes in and serves as a volunteer. There's many others from the community that come in. And one group of us interview students. So we have a interview questionnaire that we go through so they can practice their interviewing skills. And the other group of us will review their resumes. And this is in conjunction with the high school career class. And I think it's really effective. I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now here in Montmorency. And the kids that, especially the ones that I see again, so maybe they came as a junior and as a senior, you see a lot of improvement in their interviewing skills. And that's the whole point of that exercise, is just to give them some practice and help them get ready for when they want to go for the real thing.
How many kids participate in that?
Juniors and seniors, yeah. So it'd be roughly 40 to 50 in both schools. I'm just going off of how many we see. So I think that's a good number. Another program that I want to talk about is our health and nutrition. So those groups, Morgan Hardy's just started out with us as a community nutrition instructor last summer. So she's working in Montmorency County and Alpena County, and they will go around to work with senior groups to do like a cooking for one class. That's one of the most popular ones, where folks will learn how to cook healthy foods in a curriculum that they do, and they'll practice making the food, and then they go home with groceries to make it themselves. They also work a lot in the schools doing nutrition basics for elementary school kids. This is a program that a lot of times kids that don't, maybe never tried certain fruit, for example, different things that they never get exposed to, This class is about teaching them that. So they try different fruits and vegetables in the class. And there's a number of, quotes from little kids that all of a sudden like something that maybe their mom was trying to get them to try vegetables and they wouldn't do it. And they'll try one in the class, and it encourages healthy eating throughout their life. Food safety programs, I'll highlight one that is kind of a necessity. Karen Byfield does Serve Safe classes here in Montmorency County. Almost everybody that works in the restaurant industry is required to have that class. So Karen's making sure that they're offered here and we can cover them for our local folks whenever we need them. She also did a class in the schools this year with the senior class where she worked on cooking skills. So they were making different jams and doing canning, making salsa, marinara sauce, just to expose kids to cooking skills, safe knife handling, different kitchen work that they might not have been exposed to. And the kids are making stuff from scratch. And then our agriculture programs, we had a unique program this year. This was due to popular request here in Montmorency County. People wanted a food plot class, interested in growing a food plot and didn't really know how to go about that. So Paul Gross, an MSU Extension educator, came up to Hillman and we did a class on how to grow a food plot, everything they needed to know about doing that. And that was a popular one. And just a few weeks ago, we did the Hillman soybean field day. And this was looking at a number of different seed soybean plots and comparing the different seed growth. And they also talked about wildlife damage, what grows best in this area. And that's the piece that people usually care about. They care which seeds will grow the best, which plants will grow the best here so that they can make good decisions about getting the best yield out of their crops. The other piece that I wanted to bring your attention to is our addendum to the annual report. So we do the highlights in the annual report, and the addendum is a laundry list of all the classes that people in Montmorency County took. So if anybody signed up and they said that they were from Montmorency County, it's on this list. And I provide that because I wanted you to see the different kinds of classes people take. They're not only the classes that are taught by the folks that work here in Montmorency County, they're also taught by people all over the state. Some people come up here and do classes locally, other times they're online classes. But you can see by the list that there's a lot of classes that people are taking, a lot of different types of topics that MSU Extension teaches. And that's kind of what they're taking advantage of this year. Each year I'll provide you a list like this. And with that, one other thing I wanted to mention, new county commissioner training is coming up again this year. So hopefully you've seen something about that already, but if you haven't and you're interested in attending again this year, just reach out to our office and we'll make sure we get you the information on that.
Yep, I saved the information, Adam gave it to me, and also they sent it to me from Michigan Treasury, but so when all of our new board members are in place in January, I'll send them that email so that they can review it and sign up for it, because they go on for, there's a couple different options for them.
So it'll be held next year.
Well, actually, there's one coming up.
There's one coming up now, and
yeah,
then there's another one next year.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so they could take advantage of it.
yeah, so if you want to go every year, like some folks choose to go every year, just kind of for refresher training, and you can certainly do that. So
Could the commissioners that aren't commissioners yet go to the?
yes, yeah, you don't have to be. So we have a number of commissioners elect that choose to take the class,
Okay.
or people that are running and they hope they're going to get elected, so they might take it.
What dates are those?
Those are coming up in November, I believe. You can already sign up for the class, and you can some of it's online, so you can start doing the online stuff. But I think the in-person dates are in November. So it'll be one in-person day, and then there's some multiple online modules that you do ahead of time. With that, did anybody have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
We have copies.
Are those dates gonna be able to be forwarded then to?
Yep. Yep.
Perfect. The community corrections grant.
This is Jessica.
Do you want me to stand or am
You stand here.
I understand what you're.
My name is Jessica Van Wolfen. I am the program director for community corrections in Montmorency, Alpena, Crawford, Otsego, Sheboygan, Alcona. And this year, our grant is 42 years strong. Although this year, the federal budget that came down to the state was cut from 19 million to 14 million. So our grant this year, we asked for 330,000 to cover our 6 counties, and they gave us 175 and expect us to do all the same work with that 175. I have 4 part-time employees that were all working 18 hours a week. They had to go down to 8 hours a week, and yet are still expected to meet the same numbers we have over the last, 5-10 years. So it's going to be a little bit difficult. So in Montmorency County this year, we're changing things up a little bit. Instead of doing jail programming, which we've done in the past, all of your inmates are housed in Alpena. We are now going to start working with people who are arrested with felonies, and we are going to work with them through their bond process. So if they need help with employment, they need help with housing, they need help with getting food or a babysitter, we're going to work with them once they're out on bond. When they're released from jail, we'll work with them up until they're sentenced, and then they'll then move into that jail-based programming after that, or the community programming. So that's the only change that we're making this year over here, which they are housed over in Alpena, so that will all fall under that Alpena employee. And like every other year, we do not take any money from any of our counties. It's completely grant funded. So I am here for your blessing to continue what we do.
Do we need a motion on
A
that?
motion to approve the grant.
I would make that motion.
I'll support.
Any discussion? No? Hearing none? Since it's a grant, we can just fill our papers, we have to take that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
And I did email a copy of all the grant application paperwork, and so you have that.
Next is the new item, starting.
Yeah,
Look into updating the policies. going
right,
back to the
and
policies.
I'm not sure the best way to go about that. We're short a person today, so
But we'd have to get the policy
Yeah.
language
there's
and
gonna,
we had some from Mineral last time.
So I proposed a section in there for policy evaluation, a policy for evaluations and how they would work and what they entail. And when we did our policy reviewing last time, so there is already a set policy within Mineral for it, so I can print that out and share it, and you guys can tweak how you'd like it tweaked, and then we can add it into the book with policy review. But it was proposed, but it was removed because it was, they didn't, a lot of the department heads were against it.
yeah, and I don't know that, we need to flesh all of that out, I suppose. I would be a little hesitant to take the review part of it away from department heads that are working with those people all the time. If they've already got a process for reviewing them, I don't know what the board could bring to that. I mean, or what other boards do, or how that's done elsewhere.
Well, if you want to make the motion to start, the process to make the policy,
Yeah,
we can move from there and then we can discuss it.
yeah.
Because there's other components to it. You need tools,
Sure.
you need, exactly, that would all have to be fleshed out. We don't have that information in front of us, so we have
Right,
nothing to go from.
Right, we're not deciding anything today, but I'm just saying we need to get the process started. And
Yeah.
How do we go about that?
I would say that we could make motion to restart the, Montmorency County policy on evaluation.
So with that, are we talking about like taking two board members and putting them on a committee, or are we talking about?
Well, I would suggest we just bring it up, that we're going to proceed and, go through the process, and all of that I would think would be going with, the tools that we develop, reviewing mineral, what their policy, what they recommend for counties. These aren't things that we've come up with on
No,
ourselves.
I
These are
know.
things that other counties have developed. So it would be reviewing what they do and going from there.
Get that information, review it individually, and then make whatever motion from there going forward.
Right, then you could actually sit down and have a discussion about
Yeah,
what you want it to look like, just like we did for every other policy.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we should put a committee together, so to speak, right now. We don't have enough information to even
No.
talk about anything as a committee. So I think we need some information gathering first. And then look that information over.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Ms. Vice Chair, just the one thing I was just gonna speak to, just as a department head, and I know when this came up in the initial policy discussion, is, as far as I know, a majority, if not all offices, like whether it be elected officials or department heads, do have a review process within the office. So the judge is in charge of the courts, the sheriff in charge of our office, treasurer in charge of her office, and we independently review our employees based upon the rubric or the review criteria that we deem important for our personnel. And I recall that being a lot of the discussion. So I think the only difference is not everybody falls under an office, elected office. So not every employee, and I think that's where maybe some of the disconnect is. There's only certain employees that technically fall under the auspice of the Board of Commissioners, whether that be your building and grounds, the controller's office. There's only going to be about a handful of individuals or individual offices that fall under the direct supervision of the Board of Commissioners. So I guess just as you're discussing it, it sounds like you're kind of thinking about setting up a committee or however you want to handle it. That's where, I guess, just as the only department head, well, I'm Madam Treasurer as well. So that's how, I guess, as I look at it, department heads, we have review processes in our office for our people. The board is the only one at this point that doesn't have like a review process for the individual offices or office or in, building and grounds, those kind of things. Those are the only offices that don't have a supervisor that reviews. So I think that might be, as you're looking at it, it's not going to be a holistic every single office. Each office is going to have its review criteria. The treasurer is going to review her people as she sees fit, as the clerk does, as the judge does.
And I don't have a perfect memory, but I remember part of the discussion was, and it was a very broad policy that I think we discussed, but I think it mentioned that I think there was a mention of that there would be annual or
Yep.
a regular schedule, and it wasn't your office, but there was some other department heads that didn't like the fact that it was annual. They wanted to do it when they wanted to do it. They didn't want that in there. So I understand what you're saying. We're not reviewing your people. But that said, we still need a policy.
So the way it would work basically is that you could go review a policy, get it together how you want it to look and work. You can approve it for the personnel policy book. And then it would be up to those elected officials whether they use that part of that policy or not within their office. It's not saying they have to do it that way, but it gives the board a general policy to follow for all the ones that don't fall under elected officials' offices. So you can dictate how all the departments work, but the elected officials could choose to use that policy or not. That's what it would come down to.
Correct. And that's what we did. Yeah, and that's what we were able to do.
Because when I spoke to Vicky, she had said the same thing. She's like, she doesn't do reviews and she would like to see some kind of tool that they had that she could use in her office as well. So not all elected officials are doing it. They could choose to use it, but they don't necessarily
Right.
have to.
And I would like to see not only the policy information, but some of the tools. And I know I had sent your office a couple different examples of tools that are out there that we could look at as well. And that's a procedure, so that doesn't necessarily need to be in a policy. But it helps the discussion when we're talking about policy, what we're looking at. You know,
Yeah,
and how it affects people.
yeah, I wouldn't want to hobble the department so
No.
too much. Okay, so we're at a point where we need to get some information to us.
Well, we still are at the point where we need the motion to go ahead and the policy.
Okay, I would make the motion to open up the county policy to address
Evaluations.
evaluations.
Support.
Any further discussion?
Gerard supported that.
Yes.
And it's motion to open the county policy to address the evaluations, right?
Correct.
Do you want a roll call vote or were you just?
No, I'm just waiting to make sure. Any further discussion?
Not at this time.
So I can email you the proposed one on mineral that they give us, because they give you they suggest you to put into a policy. And then I can also get from MAC, if they can give me some examples that they use and email them to you and you guys can review them.
The more examples, the better. Or from other counties.
Well, MAC will, I'll basically do an
Yes,
admin,
they'll do.
an admin listserv so we can get it from all the counties and what they have for their policies.
Yeah, that would be good.
Did you vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Camp Grayling, old business, Camp Grayling resolution. I did have April send out the memorandum of understanding. Did everybody get a chance to read that? And if anybody happened to catch up North Live the other day, it came to my attention yesterday, someone sent it to me. They have charged 5 Chinese nationalists that were at Camp Grayling taking pictures last year, August of 2023. And right now it's an FBI investigation. They said they were there to look at falling stars, but they confiscated, it sounds like, and I'm just going from what the article said in Up North Live, that when they confiscated their devices, it was pictures of military equipment and entrances and things to that effect. And if you read the memorandum of understanding, it does say in there that it will be open for, what was their actual language? It said something open for others to rent.
Oh, yeah.
Something to that, where, yeah, you remember reading that, Del? It was open. It was a very open-ended use. No, I don't know if the two things are related. I just thought that
Yeah,
was
I don't-
interesting when somebody.
I don't
said
either,
that.
but it's concerning.
Madam Vice Chair.
Yeah.
I know law enforcement, like, and I apologize, I don't know what you're reading, but an example would be, I know like a lot of law enforcement does utilize Camp Grayling for training, and we do have to pay rent when we attend those. So I don't know if that's what they're alluding to, or if if they're just saying general citizen, but I know like K9, ERT teams, ES teams
Yeah.
do a lot of trainings there. So again.
And it's not
to
those,
clarify.
yeah, it's not necessarily, I guess the concern was not so much necessarily the use that they've already been using it, but it's kind of like last year's when they wanted to open it up to a general usage and it wasn't well defined.
Gotcha.
Who was going to be able to do it. You can look at if you want to look at my memorandum of understanding, you're welcome to. I can read the.
I'm of a mind to oppose any expansion at this point. And would, I don't know if we need, are we at a point where we need a motion to?
Well, we can have people read the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so This was sent to us from Crawford County. Resolution number 9, opposing the use of state lands by Camp Grayling by permit. Whereas the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, DNR, and the Michigan National Guard, MNG, have signed a memorandum of understanding which will allow the MNG to use up to 52,000 acres of state land by way of permits over the next 5 years and beyond. And whereas Montmorency County depends on the amount of accessible state land for our tourism industry, and the MNG has yet to demonstrate that the additional acreage is needed on top of the existing 230 square miles. And whereas the permit process as outlined in the MOU and as provided by law does not allow for the opportunity for the public to make comment or have input. And whereas the proposed uses on these lands will disrupt the peaceful enjoyment of the natural resources available in Montmorency County, reducing tourism and negatively impacting the local businesses. And whereas the proposed expansion of Camp Grayling's use of state lands is directly contrary to the mission statement of the DNR. And now therefore be it resolved that the County of Montmorency Board of Commissioners opposes the MOU and allowing the military use of state lands by permit to be issued to the MNG, defense contractors, affiliates, or proxies, or the usage of electronic or electromagnetic devices of unknown risk where the public recreates to the wildlife or the environment. And be it further resolved that the County of Montmorency Board of Commissioners urge the governor and the DNR director to immediately terminate the MOU as provided for in that agreement. And be it further resolved that this board directs the clerk to forward a copy of this resolution to State Senator Michelle Hungay, State Representative Ken Borton, DNR Director Scott Bowen, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and the Michigan Association of Counties. And this was the wording written by Crawford County.
Okay, I'll move that we sign the resolution.
We have support.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any further discussion on that?
As I understand the way you read this is giving the military and DNR the permission to use Camp Grayling in its original size right now for those various electronic devices and
So-
such.
Let me read before you, so you got a motion and support, but let me read this. So in the memorandum of understanding, I'll read the agreement part. For any Camp Grayling training events intended to be conducted on state land beyond the Camp Grayling borders, DMVA and or the Michigan National Guard will apply to DNR for state land use permits. These applications will designate specific periods of time and locations for access to conduct training exercises. All land use permits will be processed and issued in accordance with DNR's authority under Part 5, Department of Natural Resources of the Michigan Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. And its associated administrative rules. And it's the permits and military training exercise described in the MOU will be limited to a maximum of approximately 52,000 acres of tax reverted state land designated in Exhibit A. The land use permit applications will be limited to the amount of acreage needed for the proposed military training exercise. C, all areas covered by any land use permit described in this MOU will remain open to the legal public and tribal use during the time periods covered by any such permit, including during any military training exercises conducted. D, the land use permits described in this MOU will not allow military training exercises to take place in any protected or sensitive habitat areas or within 3,000 feet of any inland lakes or designated trout streams listed in Fisheries Order 210.23. DMVA and or the Michigan National Guard will maintain the state land at issue, including any roads or trails in the condition they existed in prior to the military training exercise. F, DMVA and or the Michigan National Guard will continue public service announcements related to permitted activities through existing military protocols. G, the purpose of the land and use permits described in this MOU will be to conduct the following activities. 1, small formation activity involving less than 500 National Guard members and up to 100 affiliated partner members. 2, controlled trials of cyber and electronic warfare technologies. 3, low impact or light maneuver training. H, the following activities will not be permitted. 1, live fire, any similar kinetic activity. 2, use of aqueous film forming foam material or any similar or other material known to contain harmful pollutants, including PFAS. 3, activity within 3,000 feet of any inland lakes or designated trout streams listed in Fisheries Order 210.23. 4, use of tanks. 5, erection of fencing or any permanent structure. 6, violent, loud, or disorderly conduct. 7, activity that results in significant damage to vegetation. 8, storage of watercraft or other vehicles beyond designated permitted period. 9, use of any loudspeaker, PA system, or similar equipment. And it goes on, DMVA and our Michigan National Guard will pay for their land use permit applications according to the same fee schedule that applies to the general public. And DNR will process the land use permit applications in the same manner that it processes all other land use permit applications. And J, the land use permit applications will be governed by all applicable state and federal laws. So basically what it's saying is that they're expanding outside of Camp Grayling. And so when people are coming in and have a land use permit in that area, then general public would no longer be able to use that area, which is, I think, was why Crawford County is against it, because they're restricting usage for the public by allowing that.
Yeah, that, and they did not specify, they just say up to 100 affiliated partner members, but they don't identify who those are.
Yeah.
And number 2, they are talking about the electronic warfare technologies, what are they called, EMP, that there's already telling us could affect our electrical grids and those kind of things. They would be using those technologies. Sure.
So just for clarification, it's an agreement between the DNR and Camp Grayling to use state-owned land. The DNR has agreed with Camp Grayling to let them use our land by permit. DNR-owned property.
They have,
And if you look at.
that's the proposal. They have not granted that yet, is that?
That's
No,
what the
it's-
memo- yeah,
it's
memo
in
of
place.
understanding
In the
is.
memo of
place now.
understanding, yes.
So,
And the term, it's a 5-year, but it automatically looks like it will renew.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Once it's there, it's there.
right. So, yeah, I think we should pass the resolution. I don't know how much good it does at this point, whether they're inclined to go back and take that back, or whether they even have the ability to do that. I don't know, but I think.
It seems kind of circumventing what was said last year and was stopped. This is a workaround.
Exactly. So I'm in favor of signing for whatever little good it'll do.
Right. Any further discussion?
I'm not in
Well,
favor. There's enough problems with the military and the civilians that are private property owners out there with low-flying aircraft, tanks.
That's what we're
That's what
saying.
we're trying to
Mike.
stop.
That's what we're saying.
That's what
We're
I'm
trying to
saying.
stop them
Mike.
from using it.
So that's what this is,
Yeah.
to stop, fine.
We would
But
like
the-
to stop that. I don't know that we can.
The resolution looks like it wants a roll call vote.
All resolutions have that roll call.
Roll call vote.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes,
Fulser,
Yes,
Girardi.
No,
Yes. On to reports.
So for the emergency manager position, our EM has resigned, and Alpena County had reached out to us to discuss the possibility of working together to hire a full-time EM that would service both Alpena and Montmorency counties. We met with them on the 23rd. We've discussed prior when we had EMs leave about making this a full-time position because of the workload is the state mandates to get more and more, and it's more of a full-time workload, but we've never gone into having it be a full-time position. So when the administrator in Alpena called and asked if we'd be interested to talk about it, we sat down with them to discuss what it would look like and if it could happen. The grant again is being decreased by 10%. So we're losing more money coming into us from the government for that service. So in the conversation, they asked to also talk about the jail contract because they just wanted to give an update. And then the EM from Alpena County is also does 911. So all the people were at the table for that. But they want to know if we would, Jesse and I will look at our benefit packages. So I'll look at for Montmorency and see what it costs for a full-time person. He's gonna look at what it costs for a full-time person on his side. And then we would kind of decide, like, if we hired a full-time person, would they be hired by Montmorency County or would they be hired by Alpena County? And then the other county would pay the other county. And then they would split their services between the two counties. But multi-county EMs are happening in the region. I talked to Lieutenant DeCastro about it. It is something that's happening. And what he said, what it looks like is we would pay, say Alpena County hired the person full-time and they served this area. They'll do the reporting like they always did, and I'll do my reporting like I always did, but we'll just show that we've paid Alpena County instead of having to pay an actual EMC. So it doesn't make a big difference in the reporting process for us on that end. But we would only have to have one set of basically the paperwork because it would combine both counties.
And we'd be governed by the policy, one policy. for
Right.
both.
Right. And then we'd have to put in there, you know, like, make sure that there's a percentage of time and stuff that's utilized in both. In the conversation, Rory was here from 911. He just asked if there was any possibility of collaboration with 911 services, not removing any 911 services from Montmorency County or Alpena County, but is there ways we could work together to like improve any kind of technology? You know, is there ways we could collaborate to work together on certain things? So he, you know, that's a discussion that they'll have down the road if they're going to, but he just kind of brought that up is this something we could do to kind of help each other grow a little bit or do more things in that realm? And then we talked to the sheriff and he just gave us an update on, you know, some things that they were looking at the jail in Alpena County. He checked the costs per inmate that they're currently spending, and if they were to bring another county into their jail, like what that would look like for us. Because Oscoda County was considering it, but they're going a different direction now. But he just kind of gives an update. He said we're averaging about 8 inmates. So he said our costs are right in line for what we're paying, so he doesn't see any issues. Our contract with the jails for 10 years. So it's not expiring anytime soon, but we are at the point where we're doing that CPI increase every year. So it'll go up slightly depending on the CPI percentage. So everything else, that was basically the gist of the conversation. You know, what the big thing we're moving forward with is just kind of getting a proposal of options for the EM on how that would look. They have to have their budget approved by November 7th. So we'll have a package basically together for both boards to kind of look at to see if this is something we can do. Either way, we're going to budget for our EM at the normal rate that we do. It shouldn't cost us any more to do this. It would just be whether we're going to be paying somebody or we're going to be sending it to Alpena County. And if we are going to get money from Alpena County and we're going to hire the person, then obviously our budget would change because we'd be taking on that full-time cost, but we'd have the revenue coming in from Alpena County. I met with Lieutenant DeCastro, like I said, and he likes that idea of doing a multi-county. He says it works well. There's a couple of leases that do it. He also asked me, he said he would like to sit in on, if we do go that route, he wants to sit on that committee to hire the EM, and he would like to be on anything, you know, working on any of that proposals and looking at proposals. He wants to be a part of it with me and the board that's there. He also said that he would love to, with the new board coming in, we have 3 new board members that'll be coming in. He would like to do a public officials meeting with you as a board to kind of give you an outline of what the EM has changed into, like what's required now, what needs to be the most important things to work at, and then what's your responsibility as a board for those services, because he seems, you know, a lot of people don't understand like the chairman's responsibilities and all that. So he would love to have a public officials meeting with the full board to kind of just go over all that stuff with you guys, and when the new board is seated.
The full board.
Yep, the full board.
I would suggest we put that.
Yeah, I already-
That's huge. I mean,
Yeah,
we can
I already-
see what's happening with North Carolina right now.
Yeah.
We can pretty much, I mean, we don't have that kind of situation, but when
No,
emergencies
but
happen, that's the kind of
We never
coordination
know
you need.
when.
Or what, yeah, so.
We're insulated from some of that, but
not everything.
Yep.
no.
No, he was, he's a wealth of knowledge, so he said he would help me with anything we have to do to move forward and go over anything, so we make sure we're going in the right direction.
And that's really nice to know that he'd be willing to do the interviewing process,
Mhm.
be part of that, because does he have things that he's already looking at that he could share with us, so when we're getting candidates, we know.
And
when
he
we're
helped last time.
advertising, so good.
Yep.
Help tell us how to advertise.
Yep, and he's not far away, so he stops in. He was here for most of the day. Tuesday he was here.
You say he, who do you mean?
Lieutenant DeCastro from the state police.
Thank you.
When is our EM's resignation effective?
But
Immediately?
yeah, he's done this to the end of this week.
Do we have any provision for what would happen?
Your chairman is your
Goes
acting.
back to the
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
Did he
answers
give a
my question.
reason for resigning?
Yeah, it was in your packet last meeting. You had a letter. I'll print you another one.
It was in the controller's report last time.
Because I was involved in the hiring of a emergency manager. And one of the applicants was, I believe, from Grayling. And that was the determining factor of not hiring that person. Because if something happens in Montmorency County, where is that person gonna go? If you get an emergency manager out of Alpena and we have another big fire, which we hope we don't, are we taking care of Montmorency County or are we taking care of Alpena County?
Yep, and that's why it would be up to Alpena and Montmorency to hire. That person could be hired from Montmorency, that person could be hired from Alpena. You know, we would review all the applicants with them. It's not necessarily a person coming from Alpena. We would work together to put the position out, and then we would review candidates. They could be from Montmorency County, they could be from Alpena County, all of our candidates. And then the people that are sitting in that committee would pick which one they think is the most qualified. And
Well,
Lieutenant-
is there a requirement that your EMs must reside in the county?
No.
Mm-mm.
No. So, I mean, I get your concern. I'm just saying that would be something that we could discuss and flesh out
Mhm.
with a candidate, because wherever there's the emergency, that's where they need to be. That's a priority.
Right, I guess maybe another question would be if the emergency involved both counties or, you know, whatever. The only thing that's sticking in my mind is a forest fire. That's probably
Right.
one of our biggest concerns, but
Yeah.
some other weather-related thing.
Sure.
Just a question for April. Is Lieutenant DeCastro the EM's direct supervisor?
I mean, how is he tied to the?
He's the regional coordinator of Region 7, so he oversees all the counties in Region 7. So he's the one we submit our, our financial reports to, all our training exercise reports, all that stuff goes to him.
I
in
just
his
wondered how he
division.
was tied to it.
So he'll be seeing some proposals and things to review in the next couple weeks. NEMCOG, so I met with Doug Baum on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know, I think it was Tuesday. So we talked about a few different things. He's been working with John Tishner from the State Land Bank, and wants to kind of move forward and look to see if the smaller counties in his region of NEMCOG would be interested in doing like a multi-county land bank. The treasurers are required to be a part of it. They'd have to sign off on it. They have to be a part of it. So he was just kind of throwing it out there that he's been talking to John Tishner about, is it possible? How could it work? If they had somebody doing the process, so the counties don't have to do the process, but they will be overseen by the treasurers, what would that look like? He was just asking if we would be interested in moving forward, and I told him that he would have to reach out to the treasurer, because that's ultimately in her purview to do, but he wants to get a meeting together with Montmorency, Iosco, and Alcona County treasurers to discuss it, to see if they're interested in how it would work, along with John Tishner from the State Land Bank. So he'll be reaching out to them to try to set something up and have a conversation. So I don't know where it'll go, but it's just kind of an initial conversation on if it's a possibility or what we can do.
Yeah, because we were told we were too little, but so what's the downside if you were to do a multi-county?
Well, all of them have to be FGUs for one thing, and I know that Iosco County is not. So they would be out right from the get-go. And your treasurer does sit on the board of directors. So, and the statute actually says that the only requirement for the board is that it be an odd number of people and the county treasurer be a member. So you do have some, he definitely needs to speak to the treasurers first, find out where they stand on this. And land banks are generally used to develop, maintain, improve, tax foreclosed or blighted properties. I'm not sure we have enough of them in the county. It's definitely, a future talk for NEMCOG and the treasurers. And if EDC is involved, that can be a good thing for sure. If you get the Economic Development Corporation, but your EDC treasurer is also your county treasurer. So he definitely needs, like I said, to start with the treasurers and see where it goes from there.
And what did you say Iosco does not have?
They are not an FGU. The state forecloses for them. They do not do it in county.
What's your just initial take on that?
My initial take on it is that it's not necessarily something we need in this county right now. They were first created because of the crisis for foreclosures. I think back like in 2003 or something like that. And we just don't have, like this year, we foreclosed on 5 properties. And none of them were viable for, improvement or anything like that. So there are definitely downsides to having a land bank. And we do currently use the state land bank. We have one piece of property that belongs to the county that is totally socked in. It is landlocked. Nobody wants it. Okay, so it's sitting in the state land bank right now. And like I said, occasionally we reach out, try to get somebody, see if somebody wants it, but nobody does, because like I said, it's completely landlocked. So, like I said, we are able to use the state land bank right now. So I'm not sure, but if you combine it, like I said, I'd be interested in hearing what he has to say, what his thoughts are, because I'm not sure an outside entity like NEMCOG could manage a land bank for a county. There just are things that, before jumping into that, you'd want to look into the.
So is this a new idea that has not sprouted elsewhere?
Not really. Some counties have land banks, but it was really only 2023 that they kind of expanded. Last year, Governor Whitmer signed a.
Counties have some counties have their own land banks, but
Yes.
there aren't ones managed by some.
No, they're
outside-
managed by the county, so.
Yeah,
And
He said there
generally-
is some multi-county ones, like a
Yeah.
couple counties combined together and work together on one. He said, but they're not somebody overseeing it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
those, so in his region, Montmorency, Iasco, and Oconto were the only ones that weren't utilizing it, which is why he picked those 3 too.
But yeah, I would just, like I said, I would think you'd want to talk to the treasurers first and then go from there. And see where they are too. If you're a bigger county and you're foreclosing on 1,200 properties and you can't sell them all, yeah, you maybe want to transfer them to a land bank, but like I said, we don't have that issue. We sold everything at auction first round for the last 4 years. So it's not like, if you stick it in a land bank, you're getting no revenue from it. It's not like a rental property. It's not like it's on the
Yeah.
tax roll anymore. But you may very well be required to pay state education tax on it.
Mhm.
So now it's gone.
Okay, so there, yeah.
On top of having it managed or maintained.
Yeah, because unless you can turn them into something that's going to.
Exactly. It's
bring
gonna
some
benefit.
revenue, what's the
And like I
point?
said, with the EDC involvement, that might be, a possibility, but there's a lot to consider before.
So on the next thing that we talked about, this is why it kind of ties into it and why he came to me and talked to me about it. They're looking at the possibility of a federal, it's the USEDA, Economic Development Authority. They have grants available to communities that have coal communities, which Village of Hillman is, would make us eligible for that funding. So he's looking at this county, and I can't remember the other county that he was looking at, but they would basically use the grant funding to bring a full-time person in to work on economic development for Montmorency County. Obviously, there would be more of a focus in the Village of Hillman, because that's where that coal community situation would be, and that would make us eligible. The grant is an 80-20, so there's a 20% match, but Michigan Treasury has been coming in and will match that 20% for us, so there would be no cost to the county to do this. So if we are interested in doing something like this, you would probably just need a letter of support saying that we would be, and we could possibly get grant funding to bring in a full-time person to work on just economic development for Montmorency County. So that's something we can work on.
Well, we don't have any.
No.
Thing going
No.
on economic development. It's been tried
Mhm.
on occasion and it goes basically nowhere. I would add a caveat, and I think I may have reported this before, from the Michigan Association of Counties. John had a great deal of that, along with some of the other, and one of the cautions was that you can get people to sit around in a committee, and he's been on a bunch of them, and talk about economic development. And unless you get the people in there that can actually make something happen, the only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna sit around and talk about it. And nothing's gonna happen. So if we did do that, then there's a necessary recruitment prop, a necessary recruitment to be done in order to find people that can actually make something happen. Just throw that out there.
So is that the point with the full-time position, to get somebody to spearhead and move that on?
Yeah, well, you gotta start someplace.
I mean, that's what this.
You
is
gotta start
basically.
someplace, and getting somebody that can work on that and is getting paid and full-time to do that would be the place to start.
And, you know, like I said, too, your county treasurer is gonna be part of the EDC. She is the treasurer for the EDC, so she also attends meetings and makes decisions.
Okay, also, we talked about, because the EM position came up, earlier at a fire chief meeting. Doug wanted to talk about that, and Crawford County currently, contracts with Frederick to do their EM services. And he said that Albert Township Fire Department would be interested in contracting as our EM services. So he would have somebody in his fire department basically do that position. He was talking about his captain.
I think he was there that day. Was he?
Yeah, that's why he come up to me about it. So I asked him to give me kind of a proposal on what that would look like, you know, what he would want from the county to send to him, to the fire department to do it, what, you know, services they would be able to provide for us for that, what that looked like. And then I said I would also talk to DeCastro about it to see like how it works in Crawford County. So, and like I said, the same day I talked to DeCastro, he was here. He said that Crawford County is actually getting out of that position with Frederick. It's not. The problem, he says, that with that kind of situation is when you're assigning it to a captain of the fire department, if the fire happens, fire's going first, and he's not going to handle the EM services of it. And he said that's kind of the difficulty they're seeing in that situation. So he says he kind of would suggest not going that route. He says, review the proposal, see what you can get out of it. And he said he'll look at it too, but he says he would lean further to going with a multi-county setup rather than a contractual that way, because you lose your services most likely in the event of a fire. But that was what was talked about on that. Not on the report, but I forgot to put in there. Another thing that Doug and I talked about was a couple things that he could help, that NEMCOG might be able to help us with in the county. And I told him, you know, with our MRMA reimbursements being gone, you know, we lost out on some funding that we were planning for. He is working with Jesse to help him try to get a new elevator for Alpena County, and he is going to do the same to help us try to maybe replace this elevator.
Oh,
So we're gonna look and see some options. And then I also asked him if he could help us try to find some grants and funding to update our camera system. So a couple things on that. Right. Next up is the MIDC grant for fiscal 25. That grant was renewed through eGrams. It's all set. Our amount that we contribute to that is not changing. That's $17,047.53. But I do need approval to sign the MICD grant attorney contracts. Bill Pfeiffer's is $18,000 annually, paid at $1,500 per month, starting October 4th, so this Friday. And that's an increase of $3,600 from fiscal 24. And then Northeast Michigan Regional Public Defender Office is $341,628.79, paid monthly at $28,469.06. And that will also start October 4th. That's an increase of $40,763.64. These grants are paid completely by the grant. The only contribution we have is that $17,000 for this. Bill is the coordinator for the grant. He does the full application of it and puts in there the amount of hours they plan on working with, the caseload and everything. So that's all planned for in this, and then we set those payments. So I just need approval to sign the contracts to keep attorneys moving on to MIDC caseloads.
You need a motion?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Support.
Any further discussion?
To sign the MIDC grant,
MIDC attorney contracts.
to sign the MIDC attorney.
And if you need to put the names in there for William Pfeiffer, probably, or do you need that? It's in the report there if you need them.
I don't know, do you want me to put it in there?
If there's no further discussion, we can have a roll call on it.
Peltier,
Yes.
Belzer,
Yes.
Gerardin,
Yes,
Hardy.
Yes.
All right, couple of things, repairs that have to happen here. The boiler circulation pump went out here at the building, and well, our boiler's quite old, so I'm not surprised. So they're gonna try to replace the boiler circulation pump first. It will cost $1,290.51, and we have this in our budget to take care of. So just FYI that we're gonna be working on that. And the sprinkler system, we had, when all the fire alarms, we were going through everything. We had Summit come in and do a sprinkler inspection of everything. So he was here for most of the day.
last Thursday, so Dawn's running around with him. He went through all the system, came back, talked to us, told us that the few deficiencies that he found. And then he was gonna give us a quote on what it would do to repair it and then do a deeper inspection on things and make sure everything's running properly for us. One of the things he did find that we have to take care of on our own is that in the probate vault, somebody painted over the sprinkler head when they were painting in there. And he said that can't be, that has to be removed because, you paint over it and the temperature that it takes on is a lot higher than it should be, so it wouldn't work properly. So the quote to do everything repairs is $2,443.19, which is also covered by our building repairs, so we will have him get that done so that we are appropriate.
I just thought of something. Have we checked the smoke detectors and all that stuff at the sheriff's building?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ours are annual.
They have annual
Okay.
inspection. Summit does yours too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I believe
Yep.
so.
Next one up is we had invoices from Common Eagle that sent to us that were old. They're 2022 to 2024. I reviewed BSNA. They're never submitted to be paid. I talked to Donna and sent them to her. She's gonna look over them and see why they're even there, because why they didn't send them until just now, to be paid now. We took care of the one for 2024, but they're all gonna need to be paid in the amount of $5,776.64 if there's no discrepancies she finds on anything. I'm just suggesting that we might want to add $6,000 to contractual expenses in the sheriff millage to cover that. Because that wasn't budgeted at all, so we might have to increase that budget to cover those ones that are from previous years.
And that's allowed in the sheriff's millage?
Yeah, it was for sheriff services. I told Donna and I'll work on it and see where it needs to go exactly, but I'm just saying we're gonna have to increase our budget by about $6,000 to cover those if we have to pay those between 2022 and 2023. Just so you're aware, that's probably gonna be coming up for an approval. Fiscal 25 budget, we're still missing a couple departments. Setting up a committee meetings probably the third week in October, so the week of the 14th, we're gonna try to get the committee meeting set up to go over everything and get a recommended budget to the board for review. The fiber phones and servers, the conversion set for October 11th. We'll have limited computer access during that time at the county building due to the server changeover. I've also arranged a tech to be on site in the building to review all of our computers and laptops. So if there's any issues that staff is having, they can actually help them hands-on with those and kind of do a complete inventory of all of our computers and laptops and everything to make sure everything's good to go while they're here doing the server switch. And then just another couple updates. I won't. The fleet management, we checked the maintenance data, and since the meeting, the only thing that's been entered is the light bulb repair for a 2013 sedan. There's been no other data entry into the system for that. That's it for me.
Treasurer?
And so the Montmorency County Republican Party would like to use the boardroom for their meetings on the third Wednesday of each month. I checked with Dawn, and this is after hours, of course, 6 p.m. As to availability, and there was no conflict. So I was just asked to confirm with the board that that was going to be okay. And as far as I know, there's no issue with that.
The only thing we've ever asked is that somebody who works here who has access can get them in and make sure they're out. And so as long as that's, we're
Everything
good.
is on.
Yep.
Is that something we need a motion on?
No,
I don't
it's
think
part of our,
necessarily.
we
just
have a
wanted
building use
confirmation it's gonna
policy.
be okay. So tax roll versus deeds, the common misunderstanding that an assessing officer must copy descriptions to the assessment or tax roll in the exact manner in which they appear in written deed. An assessing officer may describe the real property assessed upon a roll and in other proceedings under this act in the manner of in use by initials, letters, abbreviations, and figures. So basically, they're not always going to match on your taxes as they do on your deed. And that, like I said, is a misunderstanding that a lot of people have, that they see that and think that it's not correct. As the tax collector, the treasurer deals with the tax rolls, not the deeds. And we have no business changing or asking, I mean, we can let assessors know things, but we don't change anything or make any changes to the tax roll. That's the assessor's job. Commissioner Bolzer and I spoke a little bit about it before the meeting. And yes, we contract with Title Check checks. They actually have another entity, an outside entity that checks all the property descriptions so that by the time we convey that property at a tax sale, if it is foreclosed on, we are, 100% positive that that deed and that new conveyance will match, what is current. and should be there. So just a little something for people to know that that does not have to match exactly. Should it be correct? Yes. And like I said, during the process, title check will let us know, and we will reach out to an assessor if there is an issue.
But that's at the time.
Yes, that's at the time that, if they get, if you never have a forfeiture or a foreclosure, you're never gonna see, we're never gonna see anything as far as the difference.
That's interesting, because I had somebody ask me that, why it was
Yeah,
different. So
it is, like I said, it's a very common misunderstanding that they have to be exact, and they don't. The assessor has quite a bit of leeway actually to describe that property in the manner he sees it, or she, so. And then we have payment in lieu of taxes will be coming soon from the DNR, and that will be distributed, and the county will also receive their portion. That's quite a big revenue from a state share revenue from the county, from the state, but it doesn't arrive in the county until the fourth period. So we should be seeing, like I said, that soon. And that's all I have today. Any questions? Sure.
And the others, we did have Outfest this past weekend as well. I just wanted to report that we've talked about the implementation of the continuing professional education that MCOLS is mandating this year. We sent everybody to the first portion of it about 2 weeks ago. And this coming week, we have the rest of the team going through the next 4 hours that's required. It's ethics and policing. So we're fortunate Alpena is hosting it, so it's close. And I think that's about it.
and everything, the new hires, they're all up and running. You had two, what, in July?
No, we don't have, no, we have one new hire that is still in somewhat of a holding pattern, and that's due to MCOL's review. So we're working with them through that process. It's the state, so we're kind of still working with the state essentially to work through that process.
How long
But it's
does
for
that
one,
take?
it's for one person.
How long does that usually take?
There's there's not a definitive timeline. Hopefully sooner than later. Our injured officer is healing well and doing well, and hopefully we'll have that individual back to full position here shortly.
If you want me to, what, on the phones or am?
Which one, Carl, if you want this.
What,
Oh, go ahead.
excuse me, well, yeah, one more question. So what did you find out from Lieutenant Stanley? You had said last time that you were.
She has not stopped in yet. Had some personal stuff going on that she's taking care of first, so
So you still
we
don't
just
know?
haven't touched base yet.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And then I was gonna let Donna speak real quick.
Yeah, as far as the phone transition, I guess that I wasn't included in that coordination of that. And of course, in emergency services and at our office, we never do anything on Fridays, because if something goes wrong, then the vendor's not available typically on the weekend to get things fixed. So it puts us in a crunch, in a bad situation. It's not always typically the 911 phones, sometimes the administrative phones. And those are just as important, because if a dispatcher needs to call the EM or a fire chief or whatever, there's no phones to dial out. So that's been my big issue. So I guess since I wasn't included and you guys aren't willing to change, I would ask that if we could have one of the emergency cell phones available in case something does happen, then we have a backup for that dispatcher on duty. So I believe we used to have them. I don't know if you still do. Do you know, April, do we still have those phones?
Not that I'm aware of. But,
I think the IT came up with the date because we had.
Well, it was the
questions.
IT and the courts, but I wasn't
Right.
included in that discussion. I would have told you right away.
But I thought but don't you use that same, aren't you using that same phone system already? I mean, I didn't think that it was addressing the phone system so much as it was the server here. That's why they had
the
to
date
do it.
coordination was for the server change, because the computers would be shut down while they're doing a server change.
Right.
So all of our computers here at the county building would have been,
And that won't affect them.
that's not gonna affect them because they're not on the same servers that we are here in this building. The phones and the fiber have all been run, all the preliminary stuff has been done and run. The porting has already been scheduled for the 11th, so when they're on site in the morning and they go and they will make sure every phone is sitting in place, the fiber will switch first, that'll be up and running, and then all the phones will be already connected and ready to go, so that when they say go, they've already been ported over and they'll be just on. But the 911, the whole call center system is 100% separate and it's not being touched at all, and it can't be touched at all, so there would be no effect to that whatsoever. But they did all the preliminary work for everything so that it's literally just, it would be like not even any downtime, it's a quick switch, and that's why they're gonna be on site. So they will test everything before they actually switch. They'll test all the lines before they actually connect it to our lines. They're gonna make sure all the outbound's working, all the inbound's working, and then they'll do the switch, and then they should be up and running, and they'll be here to test it and make sure everything's working.
So the 911 phones won't be affected
No.
because that's not the issue. So it would be their administrative phones that they're talking about.
Well, yeah, we've done this before. and
Well,
it-
I'm just saying because
I
porting,
understand.
you know, you can just plug them in. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's not that simple, because the phone that 911 answers, it's one physical phone. The administrative lines come into that phone, and then 911 comes into that phone. It's the same phone. So yes, they will sit and tell you that it has nothing to do with 911, but it does. It is the same phone. And if the port doesn't go properly, when they connect into that, whatever they call that little switch, then it affects the phones. So when we did this before, I'm not joking when I tell you that it took me 2 to 4 weeks, yes, weeks, to resolve the issue. So I pray that it goes smooth, and hopefully what they're saying is correct, but if it doesn't, it's a Friday. So then I go home, everybody else goes home. You know how it is Friday, half the world doesn't work after 3 o'clock. I can't get a hold of vendors to try to fix it. We're paying outrageous rates because it's a weekend. So that is why we never do a Friday.
But they would be here
Mhm.
on
They
site.
will be here, I guess, but
Because,
Are
and
they
then I
gonna
would
stay all weekend?
assume that the IT, that they don't leave if it's not up.
so,
And
and that's fine. I'm just,
yeah, I guess just a cautionary, not to beat this thing, but it's Murphy seems to come into the house a lot. So it might work for 2 hours and everybody goes home, and then 4 hours later, something fails, something doesn't work right. I mean, it's technology. So again, just, I guess that's the reason we try not to do anything on a Friday, because historically, something eventually happens, and we try to play in contingency. So, you know, if there's a way we can be done on Thursday or something, great, at least then we have 2 days maybe. But just to reiterate, that's the concerns you're hearing from
right.
the office.
But
Yeah,
being
and just-
technology, it could go down at any point,
Absolutely.
anytime. I mean, it could, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't a couple weeks ago that all of Hillman was out. Everything, everyone's phones. So what is the backup phone? What is an emergency phone that you're talking about?
Me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what is this emergency phone that you were talking about?
Oh, we used to have,
A
I think it
bank.
was the EM. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
We used to have a few extra cell phones that the county owned that were available for, emergencies. And every now and then, if we had something down, we would just keep one at whatever office. And so I didn't know if we had those anymore. It's just.
Did you
gone.
talk to the EM?
I didn't know we had an EM. I thought he was
Through this
done.
week?
I will check and see if we have any, if they are, get them out to you.
Yeah, just let me know.
At the very least, we have the EM cell phone that we have, that we're paying for, so we can at least give you that.
Yeah, just as a backup, that would
Yeah.
be great for the weekend
Yeah,
if they
that
had to
should
make
work.
calls out. Or until it's fixed, I guess. We'll just, and that way, if we have it, more than likely nothing will happen.
You think? Technology is perfect. Okay. Any other questions? No. Standing committee reports? Who wants to go, Lloyd?
Yeah, the only committee that I had was Thunder Bay Transportation. We had a couple of programs with Older Persons Committee, reaching out to older individuals who are in need of transportation. We're trying to put a program for them, which went hand in hand with our Senior Expo. The Senior Expo reached out to the entire community. They're trying to make sure that all of the seniors that need transportation to get to shopping, doctors, things like that, have transportation available to them. We also had one bus that we got prior in our group of buses that we sent back because it was what we call beyond repair. It is being repaired by the group that sold us those buses. They said they'll get it back up to MDOT standards. And once that's completed, the bus is gonna come back to us. So we've got one more bus coming in again. Our building repair is still waiting for MDOT to go through all of the blueprints, all of the contractor bids. Evidently, it takes a long time for this stuff to shuffle from one desk to the other, so we're still waiting on that. And we're still looking for 3 board members. We were looking for 2, but one of the newest ones, Robin, resigned because of a new job that she had taken. So we're back to 3. That's all I have.
Gary?
Yeah, I had finance in the landfill. And at the landfill, our engineer went through and they do some kind of a check for the amount of methane gas that is leaking out of the old cells. And we are leaking in several different places. We're in the process of purchasing some kind of a meter. And that's all I can tell you, is some kind of a meter that's gonna cost us about $30,000 so that the employees can check on it themselves. And we're going out to buy some clay to recap it. The blue clay, whatever blue clay is, you know, that's what I was told. That the blue clay, the gas won't come up through it.
Stuff that when you're walking in the field, you can't walk anymore because it keeps.
All I can tell you is that it's supposed to be good for growing corn.
It is. It is,
Um,
but don't walk in it.
On your subject of landfills, I forgot to do a report, just FYI, we normally had planned for 125,000 being brought to us from the landfill, $125,000 every year. But this year was only 75,000 that's coming in, so we lost $50,000 from that contribution this year. So and in talking to Connie, that we probably shouldn't even put any of it in the budget because it will depend on their expenses for the year. So just
Well, we
FYI
got
on
big
that.
expenses coming up out there.
So we got hit with that. Yep.
That's another hit.
Mhm.
Well, they're gonna dig a new cell. That's
Why?
millions.
Not any of that.
So what's the
That's
metering gonna do?
Pardon me?
Would they meter it and what?
Meter
what
is
does
gonna
that
measure
tell
the
them to
amount of
do?
gas that is coming up through the ground, and they can pinpoint the spot that it's actually leaking.
And then they fill in with. the
Then
blue light.
they'll recover it. And they'll recheck it. But right now, we have an engineer coming out that has to measure everything, which they want to get away from.
Right. That's
We have
expensive.
good employees out there.
Yeah. Okay, I attended the Michigan Works. And the report that they have 22 grant programs that they're administrating. 4 of those are new grant programs or just additional funding for other programs that they were running. Other news, they have a new grant writer who's Jessica Top. They passed their state program review and data evaluation. That's a good sign. They had a very successful conference that they just came back from, and Jessica Top we changed her moniker from director to the CEO. other than that, I had, the other thing about, they suggested that we give our managers report to our administrator, so that they can have a look at that, and maybe you could get that on a monthly basis if you find it useful. Then I also had a meeting with the Department of Health and Human Services. They're still on a hiring freeze. They don't have any allocation. They do need some new staff members, especially in the office there. So we're hoping to get some new allocations for that. They just came back from the MCSSA conference. Mental health was a major topic. And they, under that heading, child trauma was one of their issues, and one of their more interesting ways of dealing with that was something called horse therapy, where they get kids together with horses and create a bond. And the other item that came up from the conference was a program called Be Nice. It's a 4-step program, and it's suicide prevention. So, and that is all the highlights I have from that meeting.
That's it.
I'm done.
And we already discussed, well, 9/19, I was at the LP meeting at Tri Township. We discussed the the upcoming meeting at that point with the EMS. That was, the Thursday before. We've already reviewed that. Donna had covered dispatchers and that they were doing well. 9/23, we had the EM meeting, and that's all I had to report. You've already reported on that, April, so I don't need to add anything to that. Public comment.
I just wanted to bring up the EM position. So a couple things I've heard, we had the meeting on the 23rd with Alpena and I guess Doug Baum come in. I'm just wondering if maybe we shouldn't put that out. I don't know, are you guys gonna put it out for bid? Are you gonna put it in the paper? We're already, I supposedly last board meeting, he gave notice, excuse me, he's supposedly done this week. I'm not clear on that. And so where are we gonna leave this? Are you just gonna wait for people to come to you? Are you gonna notify that we're looking and maybe put out bids, or?
We're gonna do a package. That's what April had said. She's discussing it with the administrator from Alpena. We're gonna look at.
Oh, we're not gonna
what we
open
have
it
to
up
offer.
for other people to bid?
Oh, sure we will.
Oh, okay. So are you gonna
Of course.
put an ad in the paper, or what was?
Probably at the point where we're ready to do it and we know what we're offering people. People need to know, salary, who's paying, if you're, if we're gonna be primary or Alpena.
So you're
There's a lot of
saying you're
questions.
going
There's a
with
lot of questions
Alpena.
we need to have
First, we
finished
have to
yet.
decide if we're partnering with Alpena
Alpena,
County or
correct.
not. That's gonna be the first question.
Okay,
And
so
then-
you're not even gonna offer out or look at other options?
Not
Yeah,
at this point,
I don't think we want to hire somebody and then tell them they're,
right?
don't have a
Okay.
job.
I was just curious. I didn't know, are you gonna, are you gonna look at other counties or combine,
Right, that's what that
Just take it
EM meeting
one.
was about. Yeah, that's what our meeting was about.
on the 23rd?
Yes,
Right, that was just with Alpena.
right.
Oh, you mean,
We, with other counties?
Yeah, I didn't,
We did. I know that Mike had reached out. I don't know if you had reached out as well. I got nothing back. I know I was on that. I had heard nothing back from
Yeah,
Gaylord.
we haven't heard back from Otsego.
Yeah, we did not hear anything back from them as being interested. We asked them to contact us if there was any interest, and we didn't receive anything.
Okay.
I'll reach out again.
yeah, I
And
guess
Mike had sent out an email and CC'd us. on it.
Right, but I never heard anything.
we're limited in the counties we would want to.
Right.
partner with.
I get that, but I feel like it didn't get put out for anybody to even offer up, or like,
Well, it
she
did,
said Doug came to her, and
right.
so,
It did. We discussed it with Osceola, but we haven't heard back to our knowledge.
okay. And then I would like to ask if I can just be involved if, if you're having a committee or any types of meetings, or in reviewing that you may do. So I don't know if you're having a committee or if it's just gonna be the board or what's going on, but anyway, just putting that out there.
I don't think we're to that point yet.
Okay, well, I mean, and that's kind of my point of bringing it up, that, now we're in the 2 weeks, you've known for 2 weeks, and here we're still, it's an important thing. If something happens,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was.
and of course,
my-
our office is the first to be affected by
My
that.
question was, so who does that? And apparently it is the chairman
Yes,
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right.
in the meantime.
right.
And I know that.
And that's not ideal,
Right.
obviously, but
Right. So I
It
was
is.
hoping we could just put something out, get some time set, and let people know that whether you're gonna bid it out, like a contractor position or whatever. Not saying you can't go with those other people, it's just, it'd be nice to put the options out there so people know. And of course, I don't have any idea what Alpina's talking about, because I was kind of confused with some of that with, part-time, full-time. I mean, we can barely afford to pay a part-time person now. And of course, keeping it in county is very important, I think. As far as boots on the ground or having somebody that's familiar with it. And it honestly doesn't matter if it's, you said, well, the firemen would have to be on the fire wall. Okay, so what? That's what happens anyway. So it's really not that big of a deal. All right, thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
support.
All in agreement?
Aye.